They knew who it was. And I don't know in the translation if there saw 3 people inside and 1 outside watching, or 2 people inside and 1 outside watching.
Hi everyone, it's Ruby G. Today I want to talk about the IDAHO4 case and really focus on how gender bias and outdated stereotypes might be preventing a fair examination of crucial evidence. I believe that the judge refers to the key witnesses as 2 young ladies and talks about his experience with that age group. I keep thinking about the scene from Grease, all ponytails and innocent and harmless teenage drama. And I think that's what the judge is visualizing when he looks at these college women.
Watch it! And Doris Day.
For example, the texts between, at 4:18 or 4:20 or whatever, those aren't affected by the later activities of, surfing Instagram or whatever. And I'll be interested to hear the testimony of the 2 young ladies, because my experience with that age group has shown that where you or I might phone somebody, others might check out their social media to see where they're at or what they're doing, right? And so understanding how they're using those apps is also important.
Gender bias in this investigation deserves careful examination. Public response and investigative approach might have differed significantly had the surviving roommates been male. Would a man's 8-hour delay in calling emergency services be viewed through the same lens of trauma and confusion? Research indicates gender differences in trauma response patterns, particularly in how the brain processes and responds to threat. However, this shouldn't lead to automatic assumptions about credibility or responsibility. How did Bethany know that Xana was wearing all black at 4:23:28 a.m. if she never observed the crime scene? This remains really problematic. So just think about it for a moment. If you're in the room hearing disturbing sounds coming from the bathroom and you're trying to call friends who aren't answering, how would you know what one of them was wearing? I mean, that's a specific visual detail that suggests direct observation. Look at the precision of these calls. They're systematically trying to reach each victim in a specific pattern. Dylan and Bethany are working together, alternating calls to the same people. This is a behaviour of people executing a plan, not discovering a crime.
Someone wearing all black, a mask, with only a portion of their face showing and visible. This person was male, white. She heard a voice that was not something that she recognized.
Well, if you won't eat dinner with me, you won't eat at all.
Oh, wardrobe, whatever shall I do?
Fall in love with the beast? I don't know, we're pretty complicit here.
Do you think Chipotle delivers this far into the woods? They do! Perfect! Oh my god, Belle. Stupid. Yes, hi, police. I'm being held prisoner by a gigantic horny Sasquatch in a...
Postmates, burrito bowl with carnitas for Belle.
Could you hold on? My food's here. Thanks so much. No, not you. Okay, sure, you too.
Did you know that there's a huge dog in a Victorian suit throwing a tantrum downstairs?
This is private property!
He's got a code 459! Giant hamster throwing household items! Fire!
Oh no! White man down! Call the paramedics!
Did you say he was white?
The person was a slim, skinny, lean build, and the person was taller than she is around 5'8".
She never used the word balaclava. Yet Detective Gooch asked her if she had ever heard of one, explained what one was and that it's used to hide identity, showed her a picture of one, and then had her draw one. This is law enforcement filling in the gaps.
Context of all of what happened that night is captured in DM's text messaging. There's a separate text messaging exhibit for BF. But it's not that all of a sudden at 4 a.m. something starts to happen and then the 8 hours pass and they call their friends and are startled by finding out that their roommates have been killed overnight. She woke up after whatever happened in the middle of the night happened inside that house, that she reviewed the text messages between her and BF from the night before. She was busy from about 9 o'clock in the morning on her phone. She was on Instagram, she was on Snapchat, she was on Indeed, she was editing pictures sometime in the night as well. This is not somebody who was asleep and then woke up and was startled. She is actively reviewing things that happened on her phone and communicating with other people. Any statements she made on the 911 call is not the result of a present sense impression. It's not the result of an excited utterance. It is somebody who's been awake and thinking about whatever she and BF talked about the night before and communicating with a lot of other people before that 911 call is made.
Ooh, a text. Ew.
The court documents now reveal that approximately 2 a.m, the four roommates, Kaylee, Maddie, Dylan and Bethany, met up in Kaylee's bedroom and talked for a while before they supposedly went to bed. Now, initially this might seem to support the innocent sleepover narrative the judge seems to be having in his mind. It does sound like a wholesome scene that he's probably imagining, but if we really think about it, just 10 minutes after this, Dylan's texting an Uber driver asking if they're available. This isn't the behaviour of someone who's having a casual chat with friends on a bed. I don't believe it is. I think this could suggest that whatever they're discussing in Kaylee's room was significant enough that Dylan immediately needed to arrange transportation. And I think that this is where it gets really problematic. When this timeline issue became apparent, because obviously someone noticed that Dylan's texting for an Uber right after everyone went to bed didn't make a lot of sense, the story suddenly changed. Even though this explanation wasn't mentioned in the original affidavit, the new claim that Dylan's Uber text was because they had planned on going back to the grub truck for food really doesn't make a lot of sense. And the explanation falls apart the moment you actually have a really close look at the facts. Grub truck closes at 2:30 a.m. and it stops taking orders at 2:15. So the idea that Dylan's texting at 2:10 a.m, she wouldn't have time to even place an order. And what makes it even more ridiculous is that Kaylee and Maddie had just arrived home from the grub truck and they brought mac and cheese home with them. In any case, it seems that they changed their mind and they just retired and went to bed. And that's how the story goes. And what makes this even more concerning is that now that we know that the defence has submitted alternative perpetrator evidence, what were they really discussing at 2 a.m. if they had that bedroom meeting that required Dylan to immediately start arranging transportation? Clearly wasn't about getting food from the truck that was about to close. The judge's young lady's comment becomes completely inappropriate when we consider that these women may have been engaged in serious adult conversations. The disconnect between perception and evidence becomes really dangerous when we examine what the evidence is actually presenting. While the judge is imagining some innocent sleepover scenario, the forensic evidence shows a new contact being created at 3:51. And when you add the fact that the prosecution's explanations keep changing every time someone points out the problem with their timeline, you have to start asking some really hard questions about what the heck's really going on.
I'm strongly advising that you get your shit together.
And what really bothers me is that the judge's gender-based assumptions are preventing him from considering that these college women might be capable of the same level of planning, deception, or criminal involvement as any other adult witness. This isn't about casual social media use, it's about forensic evidence that shows deliberate coordinated activity during a critical time period when the prosecution claims these women were either asleep or traumatized. Whether these women are involved in a cover-up, coerced through threats from alternative perpetrators, or genuinely traumatized but processing it in unexpected ways, the evidence deserves rigorous analysis based on forensic merit, not protection based on perceived innocence. Think about what we know. The late night bedroom gathering, the immediate transportation arrangements that don't make logical sense, the new contact creation, the coordinated digital activity, the 8-hour delay in calling police, and now a pattern of changing explanations when the original story doesn't hold up. These are complex individuals whose digital activities could reveal planning, coordination, consciousness of guilt, or responses of coercion in ways that traditional evidence simply cannot capture. That's all for today's episode of Truth and Neurons. If you found this analysis helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment below with your thoughts on the ethics of media commentary in high-profile cases. Until next time, keep thinking critically and questioning everything. Cheers, bye!